I'm going to go over upper inner thigh engagement, which is going to help really enhance the yoga practice. But not only enhance the yoga practice, you're going to align your hips. Your hips are going to work much better. Your stability is going to improve. And the overall look, posture, form, and style of the workout or style of the yoga pose is going to look much better. So I'm going to highlight some of the things that I'm checking and I'm correcting in some of these yoga poses, and we will be using the yoga block today, so make sure you have your yoga block. Yoga block is going to help you align your leg bones and retain that alignment. So I'll start going through some of the poses that you can use the yoga block with to enhance that stability, to practice inner thigh engagement, to make your hip stability stronger and realign your hips. So let's get to work. You're gonna have the yoga block, and I'm gonna go through a series. I'm gonna do planks, I'm gonna do chair pose. I'm just gonna review the sets. So we'll start with the basics. You're going to have the block in the upper inner thigh. You're going to make sure that your feet are always aligned. Your feet are always aligned during your yoga practice. When you externally point the foot, you're locking your hip. Your hip mobility is gone. Your alignment is gone. So please check in with your footwork. This should be basics. Yoga teachers need to learn basics. Basics are alignment. Foot straight, outer edges nice and straight. Thigh bones are placed in the hip socket. You're going to narrow your stance where you feel pressure of the upper inner thigh towards the block. Okay, so you want that deep pelvic pressure. Something that I'm going to start to talk about now during the sequence I'm going to go over, or the corrections I'm going over, is pelvic floor engagement, or strengthening of the musculature that supports the pelvic floor. Inner thigh does that. Right now, if you are squeezing and you're standing in alignment, you should feel that lower pelvic floor start to pump. You have your yoga block. You're ready to set up into this chair pose. Now, the thighs are engaged, and you want to feel this engagement here, practicing with the block, and then you're going to take that awareness of engagement out, and you're going to use it without the block. So in your next yoga practice, you're going to be feeling the same awareness, obviously without the block, because you're going to be working in your chair pose, teaching or practicing. But right here, you want to feel that. This is the first start, okay? Straightness, inner thigh tension, awareness of alignment, and that pressure that you feel here. You're set up. You have your inner thigh engagement. Your pelvic floor is firing. Your upper inner thighs are firing. You should feel your hamstring firing immediately, because my hamstrings start to fire as soon as I pull that tightness towards center. And as you're squeezing your inner thighs, you're going to start with a hip hinge. You do not bend the knees. I spent a lot of time correcting this, working with another yoga instructor. Do not bend your knees. You have inner thigh pelvic floor engagement, hip hinge to draw and mobilize the hips back. And then as you're lowering down into your chair, you're squeezing into the block to maintain that alignment. If you release the tension of the block, the legs go some weird stuff like that. Don't do that. Squeeze into the block. Keep that alignment as you're moving. So you're hinging and driving that alignment towards center and towards back. So you'll have inner thigh tension, hip hinge, hand reach, and you'll sit back and down. Sit back and down. Sitting back is the most important piece. Inner thigh tension the whole way through. Now, if you don't hinge and if you don't engage your upper inner thigh, you go forward. And this is going to limit your chair pose. I can get into a deep chair pose because I drive my thigh bones back, which mobilizes my hip. That is mobility, that is range. And my inner thighs are squeezing my thigh bones to maintain that alignment for that promotion of mobility. I can sit low. I can sit so low with my hips back that it's pretty incredible. No pressure on the knees. The pelvic floor is tensing. You can feel the muscles lifting that. You can feel your lower abdominal core muscles. You can feel your hamstrings. You can feel your glutes. Your back is more straight and aligned. And then you come back up again. Chair pose. Feet straight. Practice with the block. Awareness of inner thighs towards center. Hip hinge to drive back. And you're good. So we have the balancing pose with the yoga block for that hip alignment. Once again, the instability is in here. It's all here. We're talking about restoring all of this here. I see this. I can't even do that. Like, this is off. Your glute is not working. The femur is jamming into your sacrum like it should be dangerous to do this. It should be illegal to do it like this. This is what they don't teach us in yoga, in the YTT. They don't teach us alignment. They don't teach us correction and biomechanics. This is why we're going over this now. A lot of teachers will pull like this, do some crazy stuff like this. Hip is completely open, low back is compressing, super twisting. This is incorrect. I'm going to show you my version of the balancing pose. I have worked my ass off to make it look like this. This didn't come out of nothing. I had to do a lot of drills to make my hip aligned. So, correction, proper form, alignment looks like this. The hip is square, the leg is high, the glutes are working, both right and left. The hip is hinging back. You don't have this. This is not correct. Alignment. And I can get my leg pretty high up. It's worth it. It's worth it because you're going to be strengthening. You're going to be toning. And you're going to be giving yourself muscles. And you want that. You want to be strong. You want to look strong. You want to be stable. So, my yoga block is a little thick. You can use one that's like a little bit thinner. Don't get a block that's too big. So you have yoga block in between the upper and inner thigh. Now, the yoga block is going to stop this crazy hip stuff that happens. It's going to eliminate that. But it's not going to be easy. It's going to be tight. And this is when we talk about range and mobility. When you change something and you feel restriction because you corrected it. So you're going to feel, maybe you may or may not feel limitation because you're aligning your hip. And that is okay. Like I said, I worked my butt off to get that range and to have that proper hip alignment. So, rock in between the thigh. Standing correctly. Outer edges of the feet are always straight and aligned. Drill it, repeat it, get it in your head. Straight feet, aligned femurs. The body is not going anywhere unless you do that. You're just compensating and cheating, so check in. Now, hands on the hip because we're going to practice the drill. And then you're going to put weight into the right foot. You're going to balance the left foot. And you're going to squeeze the left inner thigh in towards the right inner thigh. Like your life depends on it. Like you're trying to shift weight into that right glute by adducting that left thigh. So side profile looks like this. Front profile looks like this. Okay? Crazy. This is my not so great side. The more I squeeze into the block, the more I correct myself. I can see here a little bit of my alignment. Work on my own alignment right now. So that is balancing my hip. You're teaching yourself not to do anything. Openness, looseness, no, alignment. Inner thigh, weight transfer, squeezing. hips, center. Not like this. This is wrong. Tension, pressure, sensation awareness, glute work. Foot is also working like crazy here. Break. Side profile. You can just practice standing with the block in between the inner thigh, doing that, and you're going to feel it. Not too much bend in the knee. The knee is neither straight. If you lock or bend too much, you won't go into that range you're looking for, okay? By that I mean, if you keep your knee locked, you will be limited, okay? If you bend your knee, you will be too low. Micro bend into the knee, inner thigh tension towards the block, hip alignment. Maybe you can hold on to something. I'm going to hold on to something to not struggle. Very soft touch against the wall. And then you're going to drive that hip back as you're balancing on the single leg, maintaining that knee alignment, that micro softening of the knee, and avoiding that looseness, hip lift, squeezing and drawing that left inner thigh towards that right thigh. Immediately you're going to start to feel some serious work into the glute. You can hold here. Now, this is to train yourself to release the yoga block, lengthen leg, keep that inner thigh awareness, tension, avoid the hip looseness and lift, and drive that glute back. And get that maximum hip extension, which is that leg lift. Ballerina style. Ballerinas are very disciplined and very trained, but it mimics very much flowy movements like yoga. Okay? On the other side, again, walking between the thighs. And once again, this is working all of your deep pelvic core muscles, your deep abdominal muscles, your inner thighs, your glutes. Alignment explodes and changes the body at a level that's professional. Movement is also professional. You want to move with integrity and correctness. All right. Other side. Left foot. Balancing of the right foot. I have a soft touch. Remember, my knee is not relaxed. You see, my leg is tight. Ooh, side's hard. Foot is straight. If your foot veers off, it's wrong. You gotta get that foot alignment, pinky toe in that line. Thigh is squeezing. Looks more balanced, a little bit easier to work with. Show you by the side profile. Soft touch of the hands against the wall. Inner thigh squeezing, right thigh towards left thigh. All right? And then you have that hip hinge. Micro bend in the knee. Squeezing the inner thighs towards each other. Good. Breathing. The back is nice and upright and lifted. Don't do this. This is not good. This doesn't look good. Integrity. Chest up. Glute back. Hamstrings firing. Hip hinging. Breathing. Okay? Holding. Squeezing. Feeling those muscles. You're going to integrate that into your poses. Balance, release. Hinging, lifting, keeping that inner thigh tension, not cheating, getting range through alignments, not misalignment and compensation. That was for lunge practice. You can just individually practice that. That is going to benefit your here also if you're doing a balance with the leg forward. Shiva's dance, inner thigh. So it looks nicer. Balancing warrior, warrior 3. Changes up a lot. It's going to help you in these standing balance poses, and you're going to feel that work, that muscle tone. Now, next I'm going to go over planks, because plank and down dog is another place where you can practice this integration of inner thigh squeezing. And remember, you're not going to be using the block during your practice, but you're going to be aware of those muscles that you are toning. So let's do some planking with the yoga block. So you have, I'm going to do full with the yoga block so you can see. You can do chair, block in between the inner thigh, full, step back, plank pose. And the plank is here with the block in between the inner thighs. Let me tell you, it changes everything. The inner thigh is pressing towards the block, your feet are in that hip width, it's perfect. The lower belly is going to pick up immediately. Down dog. Down dog, we're still cued to be hip width. Look at that. It's just, even now, using the yoga block, it feels different for me. I can feel like I can pull much more into this down dog. Little internal squeeze. Inner thighs are working. Everything is working. The pelvic floor, the deep core abdominal muscles. My hamstrings are working in this down dog. They're stretching and also working. Shifting forward, squeezing the inner thighs, keeping the block in between the upper inner thighs. We're back into that plank. And it's also integrated. It's like a zipper. Zipper stays in place. Zipper in the center of your body. Inner thigh squeezing. Everything stays nice and toned and in place. Hips go back and up. Another down dog with this alignment check. And then I'm just going to walk it to the top. You really, honestly, practice it this way. Exactly what I'm doing, you're going to be practicing. Thighs are squeezing, even here. What a difference. I can't believe it. It's incredible. Hamstrings, core, hip hinge. Alignment, straightness, awareness, feeling of everything. Lifting up halfway. Pulling into a chair pose again, teaching yourself integration of the upper inner thigh, strength. We practice this over and over again. We can level it up and tune it up and make ourselves stronger just by applying technical cues and corrections. Again, inner thigh squeezing, chair pose. Fold. I'm going to take little steps, walk it back, plank pose. Inner thighs are squeezing. Down dog. Inner thighs are squeezing. Legs are nice in alignment. Outer edges of the feet are nice and straight in your down dog. Breathing. Walk it to the top. The legs stay in that alignment. Gentle inner thigh tension. Fold. Inner thigh tension towards the block. Remember, you're taking this and using it during your practice. So right now you're drilling. When you practice, you're going to be aware, more strong, and you're going to know that you have to activate these muscles. Lifting, chair, squeezing inner thighs still. And it just looks good. It looks more constructed. You can also use it in floating tabletop. You can also use it in forearm. The yoga block, and you're going to activate that inner thigh, pelvic floor, deep core abdominal muscles. Hamstrings are still working, everything working. Plank, walk it. And then all the way up. Drill, drill, drill. Awareness, awareness, awareness. The instructor, the person that is practicing, wants to be aware of the muscles they need to be using to make the pose correct and get the most out of these poses. The most in regards to strengthening and also ranging, because you are going to open up some good ranges practicing these cues. Pelvic floor is working, strengthening. Muscles around it are strengthening. Lower abdomen, upper inner thigh, glutes and hamstrings. Support your pelvis. Support your pelvic floor. Try it out. work with this. Something so simple, something we do over and over again. Correction that changes everything.